Hello guys, this is JohnRemus.com TV, the newrelationships.com. Looking into the ideas in my mind, I'm going to make this a super breakdown discussion of psychology of identity in relationship to one's body and possessions, cars in particular. Also going to address the issues of what are some identifying features of, is this person my dream mate? I also want to touch on some general concepts for transcending negative thought. And let's start with that. There's this idea of you envy someone or you get angry at them. But in reality, I'd argue that what really is going on is it's a not knowing how to respond that upsets you, not knowing how to, not understanding why someone's doing something. So, for instance, if they're being rude, if you know how to respond by giving them space, seeking space, or if you're the authority of an area, asking them to leave, or perhaps identifying them to a given authority in an area, or like I was saying, just giving them space. That's when you know how to deal with situations. You no longer feel upset if someone's rude to you. You no longer feel like saying, stop being rude or stop being stupid. In fact, when you enter into that thought pattern and try to reason with someone in that light, with that as being the premise, as they're being, it just continues the pattern, and you end up feeling stupid or feeling rude yourself. And so rather transcend the situation and realize that people are these ways for a reason. Also investigate things. When you know why someone's being mean or destructive or a criminal, then you can not only, if you can't perhaps punish them or imprison them or what it may be, if you can't do that, then guess what you can do? You can address the root issue and make sure that it doesn't continue into the future. So if somebody's, been molested, and in turn they may, at the minimum, they may be perhaps rude to, say, men or women, and towards themselves as well. By the way, when people are mean, they're mean towards themselves. They're experiencing that negativity, and it's like people think that the ego thinks that people who are rude or who exert power over others or try to seduce or manipulate others, the ego believes that that's a show of power. But in reality, I feel that's a show of just, it's the bully, quote unquote. That's actually a show that they're not in control of their own lives, and they're upset, and therefore they're expressing that outwardly towards others. They're expressing that anger. But it's this knowledge of this. It's this knowledge of, okay, why do people molest other people? And maybe it's because there's a lack of clarity in relationships, and people think that, I just want to find someone I'm attracted to and have kids with them as quickly as I can, and then their relationship falls apart, and it creates problems throughout the family, and in turn the children don't have enough supervision, so they might get molested, for example. Or people might not be discerning and realize that their partner that they are gonna have children with may have some psychological problems, or maybe have some unhealthy habits that lead to the child being neglected, or worse yet, abused by their own parents or nearby relatives. And that brings up another issue of what is a relative? Is one obligated, as some culture suggests, to make everyone they're biologically, legally related to? I call them legally, biologically related persons. LBRT, whatever the acronym is. Okay, you get the sense of what I'm saying. I further discuss these matters on my website, The New Relationships. But the back to the essence of it, it's that you can actually manage your own thoughts. If somebody's mean to you, they say that there's this idea that prayer is so useful. Sometimes prayer works. It's the power of the word and of concentrated intentional thinking. But how about taking prayer to a next level by doing this? Whenever you deal with people, or you think of people in situations you don't like, or you're nervous about, or you're anxious, like, oh, I don't know if I should approach this person romantically, or whatever it is, situations at work, just simply visualize the person in question, and even yourself, and imagine them smiling. Not that you're making them smile, not that you even like them, but just imagine them smiling for the sake of the mental programming that you're doing for your own subconscious mind. So you're imagining them smiling, and then do the light work technique. I made a few videos on that as well. Basically, moving on. This is an idea. How do people actually figure out, oh, this person's my dream mate? One thing, you'd be surprised, you absolutely and unequivocally would want to be with them when you're older. Because it's love. It's actual love, the fourth chakra. It's when beyond, one's needs being met, one's sexual desires being satisfied, one's emotional balance being met. And then you enter into the fourth. That's the third chakra. The fourth chakra being, actual love. And love is when you just really like doing things with a person. You have to do things together in order to engender that feeling of love, right? And obviously you want to talk about those beforehand. But the question of how do we determine if this person is our dream mate, right? Well, first you have to make sure, like I said, that you are satisfying your needs, desires, and wants. That you like in life. Where you want to live. Certain things, like just like we know the type of music we like, we should be able to discern and be clear on. I definitely like this, and I definitely don't like that. I like pets, or I don't, for example. These are things that are relevant to relationships, as we know. But to have that special someone, you gotta realize that many people find each other's personas and bodies attractive, but I think that's an insufficient amount of information to say that, wait a second, this person I'm totally into. And on a side note, people might suggest, well, how do I have such confidence talking on this? I'm not even in a committed relationship myself. Well, the reason being is because I'm patient enough to want to prepare myself to have children, which I want to do promptly after marriage. And by the way, what's marriage? Marriage is actually physical and verbal intimacy. So don't engage in any physical and verbal intimacy. Let's say you see someone you're interested in, and you feel like, oh, you're ready for whatever a relationship is. You could approach them and, of course, exchange courtesies first. See if they give any cues to suggest, especially, the guy should be respectful to the woman and let her give cues to suggest she's interested. And this has nothing to do with alcohol or seduction or playing games. Manipulators can do that. They'll offer food or simple things, just friendliness or even transportation in order to get somebody into a place where they can manipulate them. And obviously you shouldn't have to impress or worry about if someone's gonna be attracted to you. But the exception I'm making is that if you do want to have children, you're gonna have to be prepared, obviously, financially and emotionally secure. But say, for example, you don't want children, well then, you don't have to be ready for that. You don't. In fact, the reason people need money and security is to raise children. It's not when you're two adults and you don't want to raise children. You're actually, you don't need to have financial security. But you might say that, oh, you gotta have something. Well, guess what you really need to have? You need to have industriousness, responsible financial prudence, the things that go behind money. What if someone loses all their millions tomorrow? Are they going to the couple still going to want to be with each other? Well, if they like each other for their mindset and not their actual physical elements in play, like what if they have an unexpected health crisis? They still might be have healthy habits, but the whole point here is you don't need to worry about any of this stuff if someone's your dream mate. Somebody's your dream mate. And by the way, why compromise and commit yourself to someone and give them your energy, which they will use for other dreams if they're not your dream mate? Why do that? Because guess what it leaves you? It leaves you farther and farther away from your dream mate. And you might say, well, what about experimentation? Well, why experiment? Like come on, people know what physical, intimacy is and sexual intimacy. Do you really have to explain that? I would debate upon. All that considered, moving on to a conclusory subject, I think there's something in particular I want to elaborate upon: the psychology of identity. And I touched on that a little in terms of, if it's not about someone having money or fancy things, it's about whether they're on the same energetic equivalent of that. Are they passionate, industrious, creative, smart? And those things attract and create good quality of life. The quality, quote unquote, good quality of life is also an opinion. It's relative. But see, if your dream mate is somebody who is similar to you and you don't feel nervous about, you don't feel like you have to compete with or impress, and they have a similar lifespan as you, then guess what? You're really going to be able to have joy and really going to want to, love is like magic. It makes you feel good and it makes you want to engage in orally pleasuring one another. Don't want to do that with other people. And I think there's certain, Men have to realize that if they don't activate their chakra regularly with with regular masturbation and orgasm, that energy will control you. It will control your actions. It will make you want to just impress women, or and you want to transcend that. Same with the ego. Even if you've activated the second, if you're in the third and you're hoping people will like you, or you're wanting energy from others. Like here's what I mean by identity. Say somebody identifies with having an expensive car. Instead of that that car or anything else could be representative of their their competence, really, or credibility. But really, when you break it down, what's the essence of it? Do you actually think the person's credible? Is the number one important determining factor or common denominator where you say, oh, do I want this person in my life? Are they my dream mate? Are they part of my dream team, like spiritual family? Maybe it is a prerequisite that they have certain things in their life or whatever it is, but if you put that stuff can be very costly. But the point I'm making here is this whole idea of identity, right? Take cars for example. They quickly, in 5 years, it's not this. It's gonna seem old. That's the pattern we see. And what is its functionality? Well, it gets you from point A to B. You can do that with other forms of transportation. It makes people maybe garners attention or respect from others. Shouldn't you, by your character and by and the very idea of wanting attention from it, that gives people power over you. The very idea of hoping that people will like you, or you're hoping, oh, I hope this woman or man likes me, or I hope these people are interested in what I'm interested. It gives other people power over you. It makes you waiting. Don't wait or want or hope. There's no hope or wishing in a high quality reality. Moreover, there's science. Everything I'm describing is science and reasoning, and not letting your emotions dictate that. Oh, I think I like this person, or I think I like doing this activity, and maybe these people also like it. No, that's speculation. That's abstraction. Instead, we're delving into the real realm and the narrative of your life, and so create it, and be selective of who you give your energy to, and also of societal expectations. Do you have to have a certain type of occupation or relationship structure? Question that, and question. I believe no intimacy before marriage is the most efficient way to happiness and joy, and really that's what it is. It's not about sexual gratification or what quote unquote should be. Oh, I should find someone that's attractive, or I'm attracted to. And by the way, that's also relative, attraction. And you might think that, oh, you have to have money or certain physical attributes, certain sex organs for men and women. By the way, the idea of, by saying that a woman saying or a man saying that, oh, I want bigger breasts or bigger pee-pee, really what that's suggesting is that they may have that attraction that may be important to them. The woman may have a deeper or looser VV. And these are personal matters, right? and nobody's perfect, and there are many, like I was saying, traits that people have, and so you've got to decide what's important for you. But guess what? I find that there's a certain essence in people that you find attractive. The way they talk, their cultural nuances, their demeanor, that is the most compelling, and that even if people have different body types and features, guess what? That's not actually the primary determining factor of love. Love, and of course, it's nice to be physically compatible with somebody, but it's actually nicer and more joyous and more ecstatic to be with somebody who you really love. And that's where the magic is, the brilliance and the mystery of creation. It's that it transcends itself. It goes beyond physicality. It goes beyond this hope that this material desperation of, I have to be perfect, have to have the perfect things or perfect body, and enters into this realm of real love. And of course we want to have that in our own life first. It's an everyday thing, though. You've got to activate all your chakras every single day, independently of anyone else. And people might say that, you should be codependent on people. We should say that, these people are family and everything, or whatever it is, friends. I think that's great, but I also have more specific definitions regarding that subject matter on my website. And I'm actually going to conclude here. I think I've given a brief overview of things, and just the idea of really being you and realizing that it's just it's you and your dream mate, and want that for other people. Maybe if they can't experience it in this life, maybe the next life. Maybe if their bodies aren't even physically capable or attractive to the extent that they're sufficient, that they can actually have a nice connection with someone. Why is that? Maybe just don't have children if you don't find your body attractive. Invest in other people. Their grandchildren will be you in your next reincarnation. And that's the magic of having, being who we are. We are all that is. And if that's really true, then we can feel good about other people and celebrate their having an attractive couple or having a nice lifestyle. We can celebrate that instead of envying it. In fact, the concept of envy, I think, is related to the idea of somebody misusing or abusing what they have. Because, for instance, if somebody has, say a woman has a nice ass and a guy has a lot of money, for example, and they're together, then people, that's a good thing. There's no envy there. And I should say proportionate ass, perhaps I should say. Beauty is about proportion and contrast. And I will conclude on this kind of fun note that there are different elements to attraction in life, but beyond any physical traits and whatever it is, the number one attractions are good health and skin and virility. And if the sex organs are two extremes, then you can't have nice intimacy, because it's harder to use, say, a bigger PP or VV. And I think that the animal has this compulsion towards wanting larger things, like cars or houses or TVs or anything. But it's worth questioning, because that's just the animal mind. The animal mind has certain programmings that I think we should transcend, and definitely transcend this idea of it's a third party, a higher power will take care of things, or savior will come to manage things. That's all has to do with having somebody else take responsibility and rule over your world, and it doesn't even feel good for yourself. Like, people might think that, oh, I wish I had money, I wish my parents took care of me, da 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 da, but then you can't experience your own creation, because when you earn that thing that you have in your life, not a gift, when you earn that thing in your life, when you rightfully deserve that relationship, because you're patient and are in a mindset of a royal mindset of, I don't want to have a boy or a girl, quote unquote, friend, a boy girlfriend. That's not what I want. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I want and even, of course, homo couples, which I celebrate, and also it's worth being careful, being cautious, because the temptation to engage in extramarital intimacy, and it's verbal or physical. It's, you got to realize these are equally significant. You don't want to play games with that. It's like this. It's either you want somebody for sex, or you want them for their soul. Thanks for considering.